Thank you for watching the Westwood High School senior presentation. First, just want to quickly cover who your counselors are. Based off your last name, you have an assigned counselor who has been working with you since last year through this college application process. Please make sure you note that Ms. Castro is down towards the bottom. She is the IB counselor for our seniors. Next, I want to make sure you're using your Westwood counseling website this year because this is going to be so important for you as a resource tool. So if you click on the link, which you can also access from the main Westwood website, you will see multiple different things. If you scroll down, you can see the school profile. You can look where students in past grades have gone. All of our resources and handouts for the college application process you've been given or have access to are linked here. This presentation is listed as well. All the scholarship and financial aid information, which we're going to talk about in this process, is linked here. If you're thinking of being a student athlete, your NCAA information is here. If you're still thinking about what careers or college majors you might want, that is going to be here as well. So lots of good information here. Also, at the top, if you notice, there's a college visit calendar. If you click this, this is where you can see where all the colleges that are coming on our campus are listed. The nice thing is if you click on one, like let's say University of Michigan, it will have their contact information for our admissions rep. The other thing you are more than welcome to do is click here where it says Google Calendar, and this will add to your Google Calendar. So all the college visits as they're created will magically appear on your Google Calendar. So that's a great little tool to make it easy as well. Okay, back to the presentation. Real quickly, I want to make sure you are aware you have to have these graduation requirements. Your counselor talked about this with you last year at your junior conference where we made sure everything was covered. Please double check that you are in all the right classes for graduation. You have to have 4 English, you have to have 4 math, 4 science, 4 social studies before you graduate. You have to have 2 years of the same language, a year of fine art, a year of some type of physical education, whether that's athletics, ROTC, dance, band, you need it, and then 7 other courses. So that's a total of 27 credits overall. Some students will say, well, I don't have 7 electives, but I have 5 math credits. Well, that 5th math credit technically rolls under the 7 electives, so you're good. Okay, endorsements versus academies. So this is going to be kind of a big deal for some of y'all this year when it comes time to graduation and parents wanting to know, oh, do you get a stole or do you get a sash? What are the differences? So real quickly, an academy. These are the ones that earn a sash to wear. So that little bit of bling at graduation. An academy is based off a sequence of courses, usually elective based. So if you click here, you will see our academy pathway. So for example, animation. If you've taken these 4-year sequence, you will get a sash to wear at graduation. Same thing if you did 4 years of the ROTC program, 4 years of health science, 4 years of engineering or comp sci, any of those, or the fine arts, 4 years of band, you will earn a sash at graduation. That is an academy. These are purely optional. You don't have to have one to graduate. They're purely optional and you get the sash. Versus the endorsement is mandatory. You do have to have one for graduation. All students will automatically get the multidisciplinary if you take the 4 core classes every year, so the 4x4. Then the other ones are going to be based off of other courses. So if we look at this, so you'll see some of the academies are on here. So if you took 4 years of animation, you'll earn the business and industry endorsement. If you look at arts and humanities, if you took 4 years of band, you'll get the arts and humanities endorsement as well, just like the academy. However, you might see down here below, if you've taken 5 social studies, 4 years of a foreign language, you can also get the fine art and humanities endorsement as well. STEM. I think this one is where some people get confused here because they're like, I took 5 math credits. I should get the STEM endorsement or 5 science credit. That is correct. You'll get the STEM endorsement. However, that does not qualify you for an academy sash because the academies for STEM are only comp sci and engineering, the one in the gray boxes. So the gray boxes will get you an academy and an endorsement. If it's in the boxes below, it's purely an endorsement, so no sash. Okay, So those handouts are linked in here, so you have a little more time to stop and look at them. Okay, now let's move on to Westwood college application. So again, a lot of this was covered with you at the end of junior year, but we want to make sure it's fresh and answer maybe more in-depth questions. So what does Westwood send? So what we will do is the transcript. So your student goes online to the Westwood website and orders a transcript to be sent to a college. We will do that. We not only send your transcript, we send your senior year schedule, and we send the school profile. The school profile is a document that's linked on the counseling website where I showed you just a minute ago, but it talks about what Westwood is really like. So again, it sees the competitiveness, it shows them all the academic achievements the school has to offer. So they realize that Westwood is not your typical average high school. It's very different. And again, do most of the colleges in Texas know what Westwood is like? Yes. But some of the small schools outside of Texas might not know. And this is where we level the playing field and say, this school is amazing. GPAs are higher than normal. Test scores are higher than normal. It's not your typical school. So such a good resource. And we send that automatically. If you're applying to a Common App school, we also will do your secondary school report. All you have to do to have that happen is you type your counselor's email address into your Common App, and we'll take care of that for you. And the last is the counselor recommendation. So if you are on Common App and you've typed in your counselor's email address for a counselor rec letter, we'll upload it for you. But here's the key thing. You have to go tell your counselor you want a rec letter because they have a form you're going to have to fill out so they can do that for you. So let's talk about that transcript section a little bit more. So I said there's a link on the front of the Westwood website where you can order your transcripts. That is absolutely correct. I've also put the direct link into this as well for you. So let me show you what it looks like so you're aware. So you will fill out, it gives you the instructions, but you're going to fill out what do you want a transcript for? So do you want it for college applications? Most of you are going to click that box. If you're working on Common App or Coalition, you can check this box. And the big difference here is Common App and Coalition have it where if you submit your transcript once to the system, which we send for you, every college after that that you apply to will automatically they'll keep uploading it. So after you do your first, middle, last name, student ID, your additional email, so a non-Westwood email, date of birth, your graduation year, phone number, you're going to sign it. This is where you're going to write. So if you want it sent to Common App, write Common App. And then every college you apply to within Common App can access that. However, if you're applying to a school not on Common App, so let's say UT Dallas, you would write UT Dallas. At the end, it'll prompt you to pay $3 per each one of these sections. So however many times we're sending it is $3 each. You pay with your credit card, submit, and you're done. It'll be sent within usually 48 hours. So super simple form to use. Okay. The other thing I would say is close to deadlines. So around Thanksgiving break, winter break, there are a lot of college applications due. So this is super important if you want this, that you make sure you send your transcripts early. Do not wait till the day before we go to winter break or the day before Thanksgiving break and expect for it to be sent before we leave. And I know that's heartbreaking, but we have a lot of schools that have a December 1st deadline. And we have a lot of schools that have a January 1st deadline. You have to send them way in advance. Don't wait to the last minute. Send your transcripts now. And that way they're already there. Even if you haven't applied, you can go ahead and send your transcripts and they will hold on to your documents and wait for you to apply. So please, please, please get them sent early. I cannot stress that enough. Next. Okay, so what are the things you're going to send? I've told you what Westwood's going to send. Now let's focus on you. You have to complete the college application. We cannot fill that out for you. You have to do that. If there's essays or optional writing assignments, you're going to be in charge of writing those, getting them proofread, and uploading. Application fees. So every college, there are a few exceptions out there that will waive a fee for application, but most of them are going to make you pay a fee. Whether it's $25 or $50 or $75, you're going to have to pay some fee for them to process your application and review your status. If you qualify for free or reduced lunch, you must already qualify. So if this is you, you need to make sure you fill out the application for free or reduced lunch, even if you don't eat lunch here, because if you fill out the application for free or reduced lunch, you're entitled to fee waivers so you can apply to colleges and not have to pay that fee. If this is you, you will come and see Miss Browning, me, to get those fee waivers. But again, you must be coded in our system as free or reduced lunch. So please don't wait to the last minute to do that, because it usually can take up to a few days to process. Your resume. You're going to see on a lot of places that the resume is optional. However, if it's a competitive school and you're not automatically admitted, I would recommend putting your resume on there. The resume sample is attached into this email that you were sent. So it's on the applying for college website, on the counseling website. Please, please, please create a resume and send it to your colleges if it is optional. A portfolio. If you're applying something for like graphic design, architecture, music, dance, they're probably going to ask you to upload a portfolio. Make sure if you have a portfolio, you check the specific requirements on how they want it uploaded. Because if you apply to 5 colleges and all 5 of them need a portfolio, let's say for you're going into film, there's a good chance all 5 of those colleges might require it a little bit different, or maybe a different length, or you need to make sure you're submitting it exactly how that college wants it. So don't get lazy and be like, oh, I'm sure it's fine. It's not exactly what they wanted, or it's 20 seconds longer than the requirement. It needs to be exactly what they want, so you're not maybe an accidental on a automatic no. So definitely. Last thing I would say is keep a copy of everything you send, because you're going to see there will be short answer questions here or there on these college apps. And you might think, well, it only took me like 20 minutes to write it. Not a big deal. No, you want to keep that because you might see that same question on another college application, or in the spring when scholarship applications hit hard, you will already have that written and you don't need to rewrite it over and over. The college application process is the one time you're allowed to plagiarize yourself over and over and over again. So, test scores. So, colleges, some of them are test optional. If you're choosing to send your test score, which a lot of colleges still would like to see that for another data point when they're considering your admissions, or some of the colleges want it for scholarship purposes. So definitely look into whether you should be sending your SAT and ACT scores. And if you're not sure, call the college and ask. You don't have to give them your name, just call the admissions office and say, hey, I've got a 1300 on my SAT. Do you think it would be helpful for me to send it? And they'll give you an honest answer. Westwood cannot send your test scores. You have to go through the College Board for the SAT or the ACT website to send your ACT scores. You can pick and choose which schools, when you get on there, you're sending your test scores to. Also, you can choose to send all your test scores or just individual test scores. Students always say, well, is it better for them to see my 4 SAT scores or just send my highest? I always recommend send them all, because some colleges will super score your test score. So maybe you got a higher reading score on one test and a higher math on another one. They will combine them. Some of the colleges do that. So I would definitely send them all. It's not going to hurt you. A lot of times colleges are like, wow, this student actually went and studied and prepped and took the time to get better and better. And they see that as a positive. So I would always recommend send all your scores. College readiness. So in the state of Texas, you have to prove that you are college ready to attend college and not have to take remedial level courses. And remedial level courses, that's really just saying they want to make sure you're at the college level for writing and math. And if you're not, you're going to have to pay to take these courses at your college before you can move on to your major level courses. Here's the thing, they don't count towards graduation requirements. They just cost you time and money. So we want to make sure you are college ready before graduating, so that way you can go straight to your major courses to begin with. So the way you can be college ready is having high enough SAT or ACT scores. And if you don't exempt from that, you can take the TSI during your senior year. We will offer multiple testing opportunities for our seniors at no cost. So we can get you TSI scores high enough to hopefully be college ready before graduation. And again, we don't do it because we just love to test you. We do it because we're trying to save you money and time when you get to college. So that's really why we push that. So I hope that makes a little bit more sense. Apply Texas. Okay, so the two main websites you're going to spend your time on are Apply Texas and Common App. So let's start with the Apply Texas. So the Apply Texas website is www.goapplytexas.org. Make sure you enter that go in before the Apply Texas because it's recently added. Only a year ago was that go added in there, and I don't want you going to the old Apply Texas website. So the Apply Texas website is for all your Texas public colleges. You will see there are some Texas private schools on there. I do not recommend you use it for private schools in Texas because the private schools are going to require some things that are not listed in the Apply Texas, and you won't know that you need to upload additional documents and mail things in. Versus if you go with Common App for private schools, it'll have all that extra stuff built into the application. So general rule of thumb, if you're applying to a Texas public university, Apply Texas is definitely going to be the easy way to go. These are some commonly asked questions students ask me year after year for some of the questions on the Apply Texas website. So one question, it's going to say, what is your graduation plan? You want to select foundation program - distinguished level of achievement. That is your graduation plan in the state of Texas. Next, it's going to ask you, please list all the college credits you already have. This is not your AP or IB test scores. Do not include that. The only thing that will go here is ACC or if you've done our on-ramps pre-cal. General rule of thumb, when it says how many college credits do you have, it's 3 per class. So if you took U.S. history at ACC, you have 3 college hours. If you took U.S. history and government, that's 3 times 2, that'd be 6 hours of college credit. If you took on-ramps pre-cal and passed, and you took U.S. history and government, that'd be 3 classes times 3 hours. That'd be 9 hours of college credit you have. Uploading additional documents. So on the Apply Texas, you're going to see there's not a place for you to upload your resume, or if a college is requiring you to upload a visa if you're an international student, or rec letters. How it works is once you apply, so let's say, for example, you're applying to UT Austin, you submit. Within usually 3 to 5 business days, UT Austin will send you an email saying, thank you for applying. Here is your UT portal where you can check your admission status and upload extra documents. So you won't actually upload your resume, rec letters until after you've applied on Apply Texas. So that's very different than Common App. So Apply Texas, you upload all this stuff after you've submitted. Wait 3 to 5 business days, the college will contact you and say, now you can upload stuff into your portal. For GPA questions, you're going to say Westwood uses a 5.0 GPA scale and say it's weighted. And last, for the rank question, you're going to say Westwood is a non-ranking high school. Unless you are in the top 10%, then you will need to put what your rank is. Okay, let's move to Common App. So these are going to be your out-of-state colleges, and it's going to be your Texas private schools. It's www.commonapp.org. Common App makes it so simple to use. You literally will upload all your stuff into this account. It makes it so simple to follow. It has built in all the extra thing the private schools want, so it's all there for you. You're going to have to type in your school counselor email address, and then when you type that in, we automatically get an email for us to upload your transcript, to upload the secondary school report, to upload the school profile, to upload the rec letter. You will also have to do teacher rec letters. Most of them want 2 teachers. So you will type in your teacher's email addresses, and again, it'll send them an automatic email saying, so-and-so has asked for a rec letter, please upload the document here. The nice thing with Common App is once we do it once, all the colleges can see what has been uploaded by your teachers and your school counselor. They can see it. So again, whether you apply to 1 school on Common App or 20, all the schools will be able to see it after the first time it's uploaded. So if you submit to a school on Common App and 2 months later you decide to add 1 more school, you don't need to tell your counselor or your teachers. That new school will already be able to access everything that's been uploaded. The next thing I want to say is on Common App, you're going to see there's a question saying, do you want to waive your rights? And what that means, first of all, you need to say yes. That's a non-negotiable, say yes. What that means is it's saying you waive your right to see your rec letters. Because here's the thing, if you say no, colleges usually will take that as a red flag that there's something you're trying to hide and you don't trust the people you asked to write rec letters to write good stuff. Here's the thing, you should have no reason to not mark yes because you're picking people who you have a good connection with. You're not picking people who would write not nice things. So if you got caught cheating in chemistry in 10th grade, that's not the teacher you want to ask. But maybe you spend all your free time in your Algebra 2 class, your junior year, and you and that teacher have an amazing relationship and they can talk about how hard you work and the commitment you have. That's going to be the teacher you ask. So pick people who you have a good relationship with and you will have no problem checking yes, waive your rights. Okay, I want to talk about types of admissions. So this is really what you're going to see mainly on Common App. Two things you will see on Apply Texas. So I'm going to start with that first. So I'm going to try to use examples of colleges to hopefully make it simpler to explain. So first, I'm just going to use UT Austin again since it's right here in our backyard. So UT Austin, if you get on their admissions website, you're going to see that they have a regular decision is listed saying, okay, if you apply by our due date, so their due date is December 1st, you have to have all their documents. They say if you apply by this date, we will let you know early spring if you were accepted or not. And it gives you the timeline. It's laid out very simple. So if you apply by December 1st, you're probably going to maybe find out like February 15th. Cut and simple, that's regular decision. You know what to expect. The nice thing is with regular decision, you have till May 1st to decide if you want to accept that school or not. So you might find out from UT Austin you've been accepted, but you're still waiting on other colleges. Well, you don't have to tell UT Austin if you're coming or not till May 1st. May 1st is college decision day. So that's regular decision. Other schools in Texas will have rolling admissions. And so what that means, I'll give you an example, Texas State University. They are rolling admissions. So what that means is they have a regular decision deadline, like you have to apply by maybe January 1st. Don't quote me on that, but let's say that's what it is. You have to apply, the last day is, let's say, January 1st. However, as soon as they receive all your documents, your transcript, your application, and your test scores. Let's say once they receive all of that, they're going to go ahead and look at you. So if you get everything into Texas State, those 3 documents, your transcript, your test scores, and your application, let's say they have them all by September 15th, there's a good chance by October 1st, you know if you've been accepted or not. How amazing is that? So schools with rolling admissions will let you know early. So as soon as they get your stuff, they're going to review you. And usually within a few weeks, you'll know. So all the Texas public schools, except for UT Austin and Texas A&M, are rolling admission. That's amazing. So you can go ahead and get some shared admissions in your back pocket, have them ready to go. So as you're waiting for maybe the spring decision dates, you'll already have places you're for sure accepted into. And again, you don't have to let them know till May 1st if you're going or not. So let's say UT Dallas lets you know on October 1st you've been accepted. You don't have to commit until May 1st. So there's no negative for rolling admission. It's amazing. Okay, now I want to switch this to Common App mindset. So Common App application is very different than Texas public schools. So when you go on to Common Application and you pick a college, so let's say you get on there and you pick Drake University. So you pick Drake. It's going to give you an option. Do you want to apply regular decision, early action, or early decision? 3 different options. The first thing you're going to notice right off the bat is they have different deadlines. So let's say, again, I'm making up these dates. Let's say you want to apply to Drake. And regular decision is February 1st. So if you want to apply to Drake, you have to have all your documents in the uploaded into Common App by February 1st. And if you apply by February 1st, in March, they'll let you know if you've been accepted. However, you can click early action. And what early action means there's going to be an earlier deadline. So maybe instead of February 1st, it's now November 1st. So if you apply and you click early action, the one thing it's telling you is you have to get all your stuff uploaded by November 1st. If that's the case, you will find out maybe in December if you were admitted. So early action, all that means is you just have to get your stuff uploaded early. But bonus, you find out if you were accepted earlier than everybody else. The other bonus with early action is always the best option. I cannot stress it enough. Early action, a lot of times, if you get looked at in the admissions process for early action and a college isn't sure, they're not willing to say, yes, we're going to admit you. If they're unsure, they usually will then push you back to regular decision and they'll review you a second time. So for a lot of schools, it's like you have two chances of getting in by applying early action. And again, all early action is you just had to get your application stuff in by an earlier date. But those earlier dates are still like usually October, November timeline. So still plenty of time to get them in. The next one is early decision. This is the one I get very anxious about. Early decision. This is where it makes me nervous. Early decision, you have to apply early, like you did early, like an early action. However, you're only allowed to choose one school for early decision. Early decision is a binding contract where you have to say, if I get accepted on early decision, that means I am going to that school. At that point, they make you withdraw all your other applications to every other college you paid for to apply, and you'll never know if you got into them. Students will ask, well, why would I do early decision then? It sounds like there's all these negatives and there's always an early action option. Why would I do early decision? And I always say early decision is if you have that dream school that you and your family have talked about. If you get in, you will be going. Let's say you were raised in a Harvard onesie, and your family has said, if you can get into Harvard, you are 100% going, 100%, we will make it work no matter what. That is when you would do an early decision. The other big thing about early decision, early action, and regular, usually the more strenuous, so that early decision, that's the most strenuous one. You get it in early, then you have to withdraw your other applications if you get it. The thing with early decision, it has the highest percentage acceptance rate. So again, I'm making up these data. I don't have it on the top of my head. But let's say you've applied to Drake and you've done early decision. They might have a 16% acceptance rate for early decision. Versus early action, it might go down to 12% admissions rate. Versus regular decision, it might only be 6%. So again, I'm making up those data points. It's not something I have memorized for every college out there. But typically, early decision gives you the highest percentage chance of getting into that college. So again, early decision, you get to pick one. Most students should not pick any early decisions because, again, it's a legally binding contract. Versus early action, it gives you an increased percentage of getting in. You find out early if you got in. It's non-binding. So early action is definitely the win-win option for all students. I cannot stress it enough. Texas. So again, your counselor will be going over this with you. If you are in the top 10% of your graduating class, you have a rank on your transcript here at Westwood. You are automatically guaranteed acceptance to any Texas public school, except UT Austin. They only take the top 6%. However, automatic means you still have to apply. If you don't apply to that college by the deadline and get all the supporting documents in, it's not automatic. You have to meet the deadlines to apply to guarantee your assured admissions. So I can't stress that enough. Essays and resumes. Again, on this email you've been given are linked in all your essay topics for this year. Essays are your chance to make a personal statement and stand out. Make sure you're writing what you want to write. Be creative. Don't just go and Google what are the most common essay topics. No, write what's best for you and where your voice comes through. A lot of times, some of these questions might have multiple parts to them. Make sure you're answering them all. Don't just tell how you overcame an obstacle, but how it changed you. What did you learn from it? Make sure you're addressing the whole question, because if you only answer part of it, that's going to hurt you. I cannot stress that enough. And again, I've already talked about resumes. Even if it says optional, if you're not an automatic admission, I cannot stress enough, you need to upload your resume. Letters of rec. Remember, these are required for your Common App schools. Again, you're going to type in your teacher and counselor's email addresses. The next thing I would say in regards to that is ask them early. If your deadline isn't till January 1st, you can still ask now. Get their email address in, because guess what? Your teacher or your counselor might have 80 rec letters to write. And they're writing that on their own time, in their private time, at home. They're giving up time with their family. They're giving up time watching television or doing whatever they want in their personal time to write these. So if they can know how many are coming, they can work on them. But they need a few weeks to write it, because again, they're doing this in their own time. Don't ask the day before and expect them to say yes. We would hope they say no then, because we need to respect their time. And no, they're not getting paid for this. They're doing it on their outside of school time to be nice and help you. So make sure you're asking early. I cannot stress it enough. And again, students, I think it's very nice to follow up once a teacher or counselor does that with a thank you note or an email. Just really good manners, and it's good practice for when you ask people for things to show your appreciation. Next, if you're at the point where you're like, I haven't decided where I want to apply. So your PowerPoint has been overwhelming because I don't know if I should be using Applied Texas or Common App, because I don't know where I want to apply. You need to go to this website. It's called Big Future. It's on the College Board website. It's completely free for you. You can check on your colleges. You can build your college list. It lets you search colleges based off location. So if you don't want to be in a cold climate, you want to be, more in the south where it's warmer. If you're anti-snow, you can search by that. If you want to be in a big city, a small town, it lets you gives all the qualifications. It'll let you put in your test scores, so it can kind of prep where maybe, your grades and test scores would align with their admission standards. You can also do your major, so you're finding schools that have the majors you want. This is a great way to narrow down and find schools that would be a good fit for you. Other things I always say to think about when you're looking at this is look for a good department with your major. So many times students will come into my office and say, I'm applying to these schools. At this school, let's say I'm applying for environmental science. At this school, I'm just going to do biology because they don't have environmental science. At this one, they have an environmental studies, but it's not quite exactly what I want. And I always try to stop right then and there and interrupt and say, you should only be applying to colleges that have the major you really want. Like, this is your future career. This is your future life. Don't settle because you're wanting a college brand name. But if they don't offer your degree, it's not the best place for you. So don't get caught up in the college brand name. Find the college major that is the best for you. Think about the size of the school. Think about, do you want to be in a big city? Do you want to be in a college town, or a little bit more out in the middle of nowhere? Do you mind a religious affiliation? Are you wanting that? You've got to think about these different things. Do you want Greek life? Do you want your class sizes to be 20 and smaller? Or do you mind if some of your big lecture hall of 300 for your freshman year? Is that okay with you? Do you want to see your parents and your family more often? If you're out of state, if your family can't afford for you to fly home all the time, it's just logistically might not be possible. So think about that. See, where do you see yourself 4 years from now that you will be happy, that you made a decision that it fits with your life and your lifestyle and your career goals. So be thinking about that. We want you happy on your campuses. There's not a perfect amount of colleges that we would say you should apply for. Ideally, we would apply to 4 or more. Try to get one that with your test scores and GPA, you will definitely be able to get into. And then do as many reach or dream schools as you want. But definitely get some colleges applied for. You don't need to apply to 20 to 30. I think that's overkill. And I know some people like to apply just because they want to know if they would get in, but they have no intentions. It's a lot of time and energy and money spent to apply to 20 to 30 schools, where in reality, you could spend all that time applying for scholarships and try to get some money versus spending money. So, really think about the schools you want to apply for. I've already showed you on the counseling website where you can visit, see the visit calendar. I also have on that link virtual tours of colleges. If you go to any college's website, they now have virtual tours. That was one of the few positives of COVID, was all the colleges made these fancy virtual tours right on their website. So you can see what they're like, and they usually have somebody talking over them, giving you details like you were really there. Sometimes that's helpful, especially if you're applying to colleges out of Texas. That might be the only way you get to visit that campus ahead of time. You can also always call and talk to admissions offices for the schools to ask questions, and they'll tell you what their schools have to offer. That's what their job is. So take advantage. I will say the best thing you can do is go in person, because that's when you're going to get an idea when you're walking around a campus if feels like home or not. I remember myself touring college campuses being like, I don't think I belong here. Or when I did find my dream college, it was like, this place seems just like me. Being able to see other students on the campus and being like, I would fit in here. Like, that's a great feeling to have. Definitely make sure you sign up for your tours ahead of time. Some colleges have special weekends where they invite you not only for a tour, you might get to go to a football game. They have different lectures. They might let you sit on class in different lecture classes. So definitely worth looking ahead and planning them out. You get 2 college visit days that don't count against you for attendance purposes. So if you go to your Alpha office, you can get a college visit pass. You take it with you when you go to a campus. They sign off saying you were there. You bring it back just like a doctor's note, and we'll waive your attendance. So that's an awesome opportunity. Also, we know that some colleges are farther away, so you might not go to the college on Saturday, but maybe y'all are traveling on Friday. We'll excuse that Friday for that Saturday visit if you let us know that. So definitely take advantage. You get 2 days your senior year. When you're visiting campuses or you're on their websites, you definitely need to pay attention to housing. Are you going to live at home? Are you living in a dorm? Are you living in a learning community, an apartment? You need to kind of think about that. And their housing websites on the college websites will tell you this. They'll tell you if it's required, first off. Some colleges require all freshmen to live on dorms. Others you might not even think about, because in Texas, everywhere has air conditioning. There's a lot of college dorms in the northern part of our country that don't have air conditioning. They still have warm summers. So students up there might be used to just being kind of hot in the summer. You might not have the temperament to live in a dorm without air conditioning. So you might want to look for that when you're looking at dorms. Also, some colleges might not have enough housing. For example, UT Austin, there is not enough dorms for every freshman. So they'll say if you go on their website, you need to apply early if you want a chance of having a dorm. Even before you've been accepted, they want you to apply. So you need to look at that. For example, the bottom bullet is regards to UT Austin. You have to put down a deposit before you've been accepted to get a housing spot. The thing is, a lot of times the housing is not refundable, and a lot of schools have that policy. So you're putting down a deposit for a dorm that you might not end up using, because if you don't get accepted, and you might not get that money back. So again, this is where I talked about there's no reason to apply to 20 or 30 schools. Really apply to schools that you see yourself going to and living at and being happy. Okay, paying for college. So there's a paying for college handout that is linked in through the presentation that I cannot stress enough. As of last year, the FAFSA is now required for students to graduate in the state of Texas. If you're not a U.S. citizen, you have to apply for the TASFA. There is an opt-out form if you are 100% not going to fill out the FAFSA or TASFA. I say this with caution because I had a lot of students last year at the beginning of the year said, we're not doing it. Here's an opt-out form. And then in the spring, they received scholarships from their colleges. And most colleges require you to have a FAFSA account or a TASFA account on file for your scholarship money to funnel through. So I had so many students who had opted out in the fall, and then in the spring, they were last minute scrambling to fill out a FAFSA so they wouldn't lose their scholarship money. And I never want a student to not earn scholarship money that they have worked hard for and earned. So I cannot stress enough, parents, even if your mindset is we're not going to qualify for anything, why would I spend my time doing it? Please do it anyway for your child. So hopefully they will get their scholarships attached to them. So we want to make sure that is done. The FAFSA opens up October 1st. This is what the website looks like. You're going to click Start a New FAFSA when you go. If you have all your, if you've already filed your taxes for last year, it links in prior year's tax information. So if you've already filed your taxes, this should take you no more than 30 minutes because it lets you link your tax stuff there. And it's a very simple, quick process. Throughout the year, starting on October 1st, I will start letting you know when I get notified that you have submitted the TASFA or the FAFSA. With that being said, I will track it for your child for graduation. So you will get an email from me as soon as your child has been marked complete, that they've submitted the FAFSA or the TASFA and it's been marked complete. If you get an email from me saying it's not complete, it'll give you instructions and reminders to make sure you get that done. So you will get those emails from me periodically throughout the year, starting October 1st when the FAFSA opens. Next thing I will say is make sure, because I did have this mistake last year, you need to fill out the 2023-2024 FAFSA because that's the year your child will be in college. It's super important you don't fill out the prior year one. And again, not till October 1st will you see the 2023-2024 application. So don't get on there early. You cannot do it until October 1st. People always ask, when should we apply by? You need to hopefully be done by January 15th. All my emails to you will be pushing you for the January 15th deadline. And that's not for us. That's really for your child and the best chance of getting scholarships. Because every college is given so much federal money that they can give out to their students. Usually by January 15th, they've started to run out of that money, especially like ACC. They'll say we're usually out of their money by January 1st. So you want to get applied to your FAFSA as close as you can to October 1st so you can ensure you're giving your child the best chance of getting their money. Under the scholarship and financial aid website linked in, you will see I've got all our handouts. I've got videos on how to fill it out step by step. Cannot recommend enough. Also on that same website is all our scholarships. We will put all the general big scholarship websites are up there. Throughout the year, as scholarships start becoming available, most of the local area ones are going to be spring deadlines because that's when a lot of the nonprofits and local organizations have that on their agenda to give. Your students and you will be getting emails from me, again, Miss Browning, with the scholarship kind of deadline saying these is when they're due. I organize them by the date they're due so students know the order to work on them. I cannot stress enough that your students use that list as a tool. It's not the end all be all, but our local scholarships, you're always going to have the best chance when you're applying for scholarships against less people. So big ones like Coca-Cola scholarship, thousands and thousands of students nationwide will apply for those scholarships. The odds of winning, it's like a lottery. It's so tiny. Versus our local area, our Austin area, Texas scholarships, that's where our chances are going to be better because there's less people applying. And that's what I will track and send out to you weekly, especially during the spring. Other general reminders I want you to be aware of. Your students are going to have an upcoming senior one-on-one conference. Again, y'all had the major college application one in the spring. This is really a check-in. Where's your student at? Do they need anything last minute from you? So this is really a counselor-student conference. But if you have any questions you want answered, feel free to call or email your student's counselor and they will answer all the questions you have. Students, don't procrastinate, stay organized, keep up with those deadlines. Remember last year we gave you like the college admissions checklist that you could write your deadlines, what you've done for each school. Use that. It's linked again into this handout that you've been sent. Stay in contact with your teachers. Don't get surprised by grades. Remember, a lot of your colleges want mid-year report cards. So they want to know how you did in the fall and that you didn't slack off. So stay strong. Check your student emails daily, multiple times preferably, because this is where you're going to get your emails from me about your FAFSA status, scholarships, different opportunities. So please, 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 you need to be checking your student email daily. Other things, social media, lots of colleges, especially the more competitive you get, they're checking out your social media. That's not just Facebook, that's TikTok, Insta, all of it. You need to make sure it is appropriate and you're not putting bad language. You're not putting graphic things on there. You need to make sure it's squeaky clean. I always say if you wouldn't want your grandma to see it, it shouldn't be on there. And again, check the counseling website. That applying to college page is so important. There's so much amazing resources and tools there that will help you through this process. Thank you so much for watching this, and I hope you found it helpful.